Hi, how's it going, everyone? It's Nick and Tom here, SCMP Martial Arts. Uh, not a very good day to do this, but we have to sadly talk about this horrible breaking news that Victoria Lee has died at the age of 18. She died on December 26th, Boxing Day. The news has just been confirmed by Angela Lee, her sister, on Saturday, American time. It's just horrific. Tom, we've been texting a little bit. Just heartbreaking, isn't it? I have nothing
Yeah,
left.
yeah, I'm in the same boat, man. What can you really say about something like this? Caught us all, the whole world by surprise, of course. Victoria is she's just a kid, man. She's 18 years old. Obviously, sky was the limit in terms of her potential as a fighter, but that's just this tiny part of who she was as a person. As I said on Twitter, she was just the sweetest person to talk to. Um, Maybe not the most. I don't think she loved doing interviews or anything, but she was always so gracious and so chipper and so happy when we spoke to her. Just a great person, a really young person who had a lot of growing to do, but already a great, tremendous person. And it's just one of these things that, I mean, what can you really even say? She was supposed to fight next week. It's terrible.
Yeah. Um. I think I should just grab my headphones. I'm sorry because it might be echoing. Um. I might. Tom, can you lead the charge for a minute? If I.
Yeah, sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Sorry. There's some comments here, everyone. Some people haven't heard about it and they're just hearing about it now. Sorry to if you haven't heard. Yeah, it's just broke in the last few hours. I'm just gonna grab some headphones. Sorry, Tom, if you could.
Yep,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm sorry about this.
yeah. No worries. So yeah, as Nick was saying, guys, and as some of you in the comments seem to be, unfortunately, just learning now, Victoria Lee, the younger sister of Christian Lee and Angela Lee, two one championship title holders, passed away at the towards the end of December on Boxing Day, actually, day after Christmas. I see people asking about the cause of death. That hasn't been revealed by the family. I don't know if they will reveal that. Of course, that's up to them. So I can't comment on that, unfortunately. But Angela did put up a really beautiful Instagram post not long ago. She didn't provide a ton of information, but certainly some context there. Just a tremendously sad thing. The impulse is to talk about her fighting career, and all the things she might have done in the one championship circle. But like I said before, that's just a small part of who she was. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's just a terrible thing, man. It's so
K-
terrible.
Is this working? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
You're all good over there?
All
Yeah.
right. I hope there's no echo. Sorry. Um. Yeah. I'll look. We're not gonna say what we. I'll put up this Angela post, right, and then.
Hmm.
Uh. Oh God. I can't remember how to use this thing anyway. Jeez. Share screen. Okay. I've got our post here. Okay, Angela's. Yeah. As Tom said, really beautiful post from Angela. She posted it a couple hours ago. Is that on screen now? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. On December 26th, our family experienced something no family should ever have to go through. It's incredibly difficult to say this. Victoria passed away. She's gone too soon. Our family's been completely devastated. We miss her more than anything in this world. Our family will never be the same. Life will never be the same. Victoria was the most beautiful soul who ever lived. She was the best little sister in the world, the best daughter, the best granddaughter, the best godmother, auntie. Um, we miss you so much, sis. More than you could ever realize. We're all broken. A piece of you was in each of us when you left. Those pieces were ripped out of us. We will never be the same. Each and every little thing makes me think of you, from the sun rays to the sunset. You taught us to see beauty in the simple things. You were our bright light, our sunshine that will never change. You were perfect in every way. The best person I knew, the most beautiful girl inside and out. We love you, Victoria. I love you, Sprout, until the end of time. Yeah, and this is the final paragraph. Please give our family grace and respect during this most difficult time, and please check on your loved ones. Keep checking on them, give them hugs, tell them how much they mean to you. You just never know. Um, yeah, so Tom has just been horrible.
Yeah, it's a terrible thing, man. The Lee family in one championship, it's sort of fashionable at times to kind of dump on them. People say they get favorable treatment and stuff, but if you can put all the sporting stuff aside, for a little while, that family, they're just the nicest people. That's not inauthentic. That's not an act. They're just they're an incredible family full of sweet and genuine people. Ken, the dad, their parents are wonderful, genuine people. Christian and Angela, of course, just incredible people to talk to, sweet, caring, conscientious people. And Victoria, it was the same with her. We didn't get to know her quite as well because she sort of entered the limelight a little later, but she was just like her older siblings, just a really incredible person, not just athletically, but in every other part of their life too. So this is one of those things it's hard to imagine something like this happening to a nicer family, man. It really is. And Nick and I were lucky enough to get to know these people, have been lucky enough to get to know these people. So it's impossible to even imagine what they're feeling right now, what they must be feeling, especially after the holidays.
Yeah, and I think one of the saddest things is really Victoria was scheduled to fight next weekend, and I'll be flying out tomorrow to Bangkok, and I was genuinely so excited to see her fight and to meet her in person because I've covered her brother Christian and covered her sister Angela. I've covered a few of their fights, but all of Victoria's fights took place during the pandemic and at the Singapore Indoor Stadium when it was closed doors. So all of her fights, we were watching from our apartments. You in Canada, me in Hong Kong, and I was really, really pumped to see her fight in the flesh and check out the Prodigy. Just she was so gifted, and that sadly is not going to happen now. And yeah, it's such a huge, horrible thing. I think a lot of the sadness is the age, right, Tom, and the potential she had. I think I tweeted, that I had no doubt she would be a champion in one. I think that was a given, right? The competition she faced in her first two fights, they're not world class, but she absolutely blew through them. And then I'm pretty sure within a couple of years she would have been beating, ranked fighters. And it was inevitable in my eyes. She would have been a champion in one.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assumption, man. I mean, you look at her first three fights, she won all of them in the first round, if I'm not mistaken. An incredible young talent. Clearly, she was great on the ground. She could strike. She really was showing, all the same hallmarks that Angela and Christian did early on. And I was, as you said, Nick, I was very excited to get the chance to watch her fight live one day. It seemed like 2023 was going to be quite a year for her. She took some time off last year, but all signs were pointing to a big year for her. Like you said, Nick, she had a fight coming up. It just sort of seemed like she'd taken a little break and was, going to do some impressive things this year and maybe march her way all the way to a title shot. Excuse me, who knows? But yeah, obviously that won't be happening. And I interviewed her a number of times virtually and on the phone and stuff, but yeah, like you said, I was also excited, Nick, to have the chance to cover one of her fights live at some point and, get to know her the way that I've gotten to know her siblings over the years. It's so sad.
Yeah, I'd like to say I can't imagine what they're going through, but I can. Um, I can't really get into it, but I feel my heart really is going out for Angela and Christian, and of course Ken, Jules, Adrian, Bruno. There's the whole extended family. I think what I loved about them was they just traveled. They were a pack. They never. They came. 20 of them would turn up. Christian gave us an interview right in Singapore before he fought Cameron Abasov, and they all came in the media room, sat at the back. They're hanging on every word he said. Uh, and then right after he won the welterweight title, they all packed the media room again. I love that the loyalty of that family is insane, and they're the closest knit family in MMA. I think that's fair to say, right? It's nothing like the Lee family, and that is, as Angela said in that post, we'll never be the same, and that it's really tough to think about that. But yeah, Tom, sorry, I'm rambling. What?
Rambling is all you can
Uh,
do on a
yeah,
day
yeah.
like this, Nick. Right? There's just really nothing that you can say about these things other than it's just terrible and that it's sad. Um, yeah, when Victoria, I remember when before she made her pro debut, I did a story for one of the outlets I work for, just kind of about her, joining the family tradition, and we talked about how tight knit that family is, how close they all are. But just it was amazing listening to the way that Angela and Christian, excuse me, spoke about
Is that
her.
your cat?
That was my cat, yeah, interrupting. Um, but they spoke so highly of her, and it's of course every older sibling speaks highly of their younger siblings if they have a good relationship. But you could tell that they held her in such high esteem, and they were so proud of her and so excited for the future for her. Um,
Mm.
yeah, it's just this is going to take a long time for everybody to digest. I think this is going to change the complexion of one championship for a while, because this family is just so incredibly important to the organization, and the family, as Angela said, is changed forever now, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Um,
I remember. I think I gave Victoria. It was her first interview, or it was one of a series of her first interviews. But definitely after she signed, I was either the first person to speak to her or one of the first, and
mhm.
it was uh, just. I remember being really struck by two things. Like one, how composed she was as a 16-year-old at the time. Someone that age, dealing with speaking to the media, that could be quite daunting and scary. And God knows, I never would have been able to do that. Absolutely, I would have shit my pants. Sorry for my language there. Um, and the other thing I'll always remember is the smile. She had this goofiest, toothiest grin. She's always like the biggest smile I've ever seen, and she always kept smiling through everything. And even if you asked her dumb questions, she was smiling. Even if she that's what I remember. Just the person who is constantly happy, and that is what is crazy about all this. So, uh, I think I interviewed her 5 times in all. She had 3 fights. I usually spoke to her before each fight and after each fight, and it seems she grew in confidence. Visibly grew in confidence after each fight. With the media she was speaking to, and she seemed to really be settling into that role. I don't know how tough it can be to speaking to guys like us. Even we're not very impressive, Tom. Admittedly, but it can seem daunting to speak to people when you see that. And uh, I felt she was really settling in, and I hadn't spoken to her all last year. Right, she didn't fight, so I was really, really, really looking forward to catching up in January in Bangkok, and just seeing what I thought would be, a Victoria Lee 2.0, and uh, of course, yeah, not going to happen. So very sad. What any recollections you have of her? This is just my brain going on. I'm sorry, I'm not very composed right now. But
No, that's where I'm at too, man. It's we're just sort of, I mean, we're all unpacking this on the fly, right? This is news to most of the world right now. Even though the tragedy at this point is, almost 2 weeks old. I remember her the way you did. She was always smiling. She always seemed happy. Even if the chats with people like us weren't her favorite thing in the world, you would never have known it. She was always, always super keen and enthusiastic and well spoken. And as you said before, Nick, I think we were. I don't know who was first. I think you may have been first, but we were the first few people to ever interview her. And the One Championship PRs beforehand kind of asked us to send the questions ahead of time and basically go easy on her because she was new to the whole thing. Not just the fighting, but the entire circus, right? And it was I remember being struck by the fact after my first interview with her that I just interviewed a kid, right? This wasn't a young fighter. This wasn't a 20-year-old fighter. A lot of fighters make me feel old now, but this was a kid. She was 16 back then. And really just, not just at the start of her career, but the start of her life. Yeah, it's just impossible to put into words how sad this is, for her, and for her whole family. Yeah, it's the kind of thing that a family never recovers from, I don't think.
yeah,
Nice message there from Mr. John DeBella, the strawweight kickboxing champ.
JDB, what's up? Good to see you here. Yeah, I have experienced loss in my family, relatively recently. About 14 months ago, my brother died. It was really tough. It's still tough. The main thing is that you feel so angry for. Right now, I mean, I don't know how they're feeling, but I just, from my personal experience, I felt so angry for 4 or 5 months, and I lashed out at the world, and I was angry at everyone, and I wasn't a good person. And then this sort of the sadness takes over the anger. It's going to take, I think, Christian and Andrew a long time in terms of when are we going to see them come back. I really hope they don't try and rush back, because I remember I rushed back into. I'm not comparing writing sports articles to fighting in a cage, but I definitely rushed back because I thought I was letting people down by being taking too much time off when my brother died, and I hope they don't think they need to come back anytime soon. I hope they really take the necessary time to grieve and process everything. And it is one of the shittest things that can ever happen to you. It really is, because you just have no answers to anything, and it's really hard to digest. And yeah, I don't know if they'll ever see this, but I really, hopefully, I can tell them one day how sorry I am for that. And again, yeah, I'm rambling. I don't know. We're kind of going off track. Tom, why don't we talk a little about Victoria's 3 fights? Because what was it? February 2021.
And then July,
Sinisa,
and then
yeah.
October. Yeah.
So Sinisa Sarisan, the first fight. I remember. Yeah, I was expecting fireworks. It was a first round rear naked choke, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty impressive. Um, and I remember after the fight, I interviewed Victoria, and she actually said she had food poisoning that week, so she actually thought she could have done better in the fight and finished it quicker. And that just showed to me the mentality she had. that she wasn't even impressed with the first round finish. That's just a rare type of fighter, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she. I mean, just in terms of it, always. I mean, it always feels a bit ridiculous to talk about somebody's career when when something like this happens, right? As I've said, it's a small part of who she was. But in terms of course, that's the reason we all know her, right? And in terms of her career, the potential she had was just unquestionable. The first fight, as you said, Nick, was amazing. The second fight, I think, was Wang Luping, which was also a submission. I think took her a little bit longer, but just an incredible performance. Against somebody who had more experience than she did. Um, these were world class fighters, but neither was she. She was brand new, and she was beating the opposition that one was giving her handily. Uh, and then the third fight, who was it again? Souza or something. What was the last name? It was the Brazilian.
Vic Souza, yeah,
Yeah.
Victoria Souza.
Yeah, another win, the first TKO of her career. And as someone said in the comments, I was going to mention this before I forgot. There was that great moment. I can't remember if it was after her first fight or her most recent. I don't think it was the middle one, but when she was being interviewed by Mitch and he asked her a question and she sort of zoned out and
Oh yeah,
she had to hear the question again. I think she was just sort of like so caught up in the moment. You can imagine that, you have your pro debut or whatever it was, you win in quick fashion, and then there's all this noise around you, all these lights, totally unfamiliar situation, and you got a guy asking you questions. I mean, that's the last thing you'd really be focused on, right? And she had to hear the question again, and it was just it was such a sweet, candid moment, and a reminder that this was a kid. This was just a young girl who's just getting started in her sport. And really, the sky
yeah,
was the limit. We know what that family's capable of, and as her sister and brother have said so many times, she was very possibly the most talented member of that family. So
yeah.
this you
Angela
can't
told me
quantify it.
quite early on. Angela told me before her debut that Victoria is better at this age than I was, and that's saying something, man. Because she obviously Angela went on to win the title at 19, I think it was. So Victoria is better than Angela at 16. Could she have won the belt? This year, right? 18 years old, and you had kind of told me that I think Christian had said she might be going up to strawweight. Is that right?
Yeah, in
It seemed
fact,
like
I'm fairly sure that was kind of the move that she was plotting. I don't know. Obviously, it wasn't going to happen for the next fight. She was fighting Zebabano at strawweight, I think, or at atomweight, excuse me. But I think the plan was for her to move up. I don't know if that's because Angela had the title at atomweight, but if she had moved up a weight class, she very possibly could have been the youngest champion in one championship history. Obviously, there's not quite as much opposition to hack through up at strawweight to get to a title shot, and with a 3-0 start down at atomweight, I think she could have been 3 or 4 wins away from fighting for the title. It could have happened this year. It's yeah, yeah, it's
yeah,
so sad, man. So sad.
yeah. Sorry. A lot
No,
of
it's
comments. Sorry, I see everyone commenting, and I appreciate you all.
mhm.
Um,
Oh man, we're
there's
all in shock.
yeah,
That's yeah.
Knight of the Silver Rose. Thank you for your nice comment I saw earlier in the chat. Very complimentary of myself and Tom. I appreciate it. Saying Victoria was a sweet soul, may her soul find paradise and her family peace. I don't know you guys, but this MMA community is amazing. I wish you all well. Yeah, we love everyone who follows us and subscribes. Really do. I know we haven't done anything since Manila. Tom and I both needed a bit of a break, I think. uh,
Yeah.
yeah, but we had to do something now. I think uh, just get to talk, right? Get it off your chest, and
Yeah. We
um,
knew we knew these we know these people. It's we're all fans of these people, but it's it really you can't overstate how kind these people are, and it's just you wouldn't wish this on anybody, but you really wouldn't wish it on the Lee family. And Victoria was maybe the sweetest of them. It's
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
saying something, right?
yeah. Joseph Bellotti asking, do you expect one to pay tribute to her on Friday in Pro? I hope so. I think they will. They would. So I think one have known about it for a while. They've
Hmm.
known, and they kept it quiet out of respect for the family. Family weren't ready to talk about it. I have also known about it for a while. From late December, I had heard something, and I didn't think it was. I couldn't believe it, so I thought it was just not true. And then today, I actually found out it was true. Saw that there had been a confirmation on a funeral home in Hawaii had posted where Victoria is going to be buried. That they posted an obituary, and then it hit me really hard because I had hoped and prayed it wasn't true. I remember, Tom, I'd sort of told you I'd heard this horrible rumor, and you and I were both praying it wasn't true, and we were checking. I know I was checking Angela's Instagram every day. I was checking Christian's Instagram every day. Adrian Lee, uh, Victoria, of course, and they weren't posting anything for about 10 days, and I was getting really concerned because I thought that's that kind of thing makes you worry, doesn't it? And yeah, today was a horrible day. It got confirmed. I kind of found out about midday in England, and then I sort of I didn't want to say anything until the family confirmed it. So we waited, and then Angela posted today, so we're now talking about it. So uh, sorry, I kind of lost track there, but
Yeah, it keeps happening to me too. Well,
yeah,
it's yeah. After hearing about it, a little while ago, Nick, we were both, as you said, keeping an eye on Angela and Christian's social channels. As far as we knew, it was a rumor, right? And you just hope we were just hoping and praying it wasn't true. And to be honest, I mean, it's we're into January now. This happened 2 weeks ago. I'd sort of assumed that it was just a rumor,
yeah. I had just got
which is
comfortable thinking
yeah.
it was stupid rumor.
Hmm. And everyone in the comments asking what happened, guys. The family hasn't disclosed anything yet, so just, I mean, speculate away, but also be sure, as Angela asked everyone to do, just respect the privacy. It's I mean, it's you can't imagine. None of us can imagine what they're going through right now, and it's yeah. I don't even know what to say. Just yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I honestly don't know what to say. It's just so sad for them. I feel that if they want privacy, we should do our best to give it to them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tom's right. Look, we're none of us are stupid here. You can put two and two together. Uh, we can't say it. We're not going to say it. Like Tom said, respect the family. But there's a bunch of idiots speculating on my mentions in Twitter that she died of the vaccine, and that is not it. No, um, she's not had myocarditis. I think if you read Angeli's post, you can figure out what happened, and it's heartbreaking. So, family, yes, says Nick. I hope to meet you in Bangkok, leaving Hong Kong Wednesday. Oh yeah, please give me a shout. I'll be there on Monday afternoon. I think I'll be jet lagged as hell. I've I'm super happy to always say hello to any fans from my channel. We met a bunch, didn't we, Tom, in Manila? It was pretty cool. So
Mm-hmm.
if you see me, come say hello. Yeah, I'll be at the press conference, weigh-ins, all that stuff. Fight night. If you please come say hello. Always love it. Rudy Brito saying such a huge loss for the entire world. She was a pretty spirit. Yeah, she really was. Family, yes, it's extended their stay or their stay. Sorry, to watch one Lumpini. That's a good idea. Nongo against Alan Verdi. I think I may not be around for it. It's I was thinking of staying at first, but I may have to go out to Hong Kong to sort out my visa. Um, I got my visa up for renewal, so I need to submit my stuff. Anyway, yeah, have fun, family. Yes, says Mr. Tiddlewinks. I'm sure you will have fun. I think it's important, Tom. Yeah, that's another thing I wanted to say. This week is going to suck horrifically. This event, there's going to be a huge shadow over it. I hope we can enjoy the fights, and I hope we can pay tribute to Victoria's memory by just having a great week. It's so sad. Oh God, I it's going to be horrific. I don't know how to really
Yeah.
deal with this, but sorry, go ahead.
Well, like you said, it's certainly gonna cast a shadow over the event this week, just because this is not only because this is the closest event to her death, but also because she was supposed to
Be on the
to
event.
fight
Yeah.
to fight on this card, right? But this is gonna cast a shadow over a lot of events for a long time. Any event that's even remotely touched by the Lee family, which, if we're being honest, is a lot of events in one championship. Yeah, we're gonna feel her absence for a long time, man. This family is so important to one, as I've been saying, right? And it's going to change that family forever. And in a way, it's going to change. It's going to change one forever. I think you can safely say that it's clear how much faith the organization had in her. They were clearly building her up with hopes that she would reach the same heights as Christian and Angela. Um, Everybody just held her in such high regard. We did, everyone that interviewed her, not just us, but everyone who had the chance to interview her over the last year or two, her family, her siblings, one championship, everyone in the organization, the photographers. I was just talking to a one championship photographer about her. Everybody loved her. She just radiated light and was just so full of potential. And I think we're going to be feeling this one for a long time. But as you said, Nick, I'm not going to comment on what I can't say what she would have wanted or anything like that, or if it even matters. But you know, hopefully we can find a way to enjoy the fights this week and stuff. But the face of one championship has certainly changed for the foreseeable future. I think after this.
Yeah, and like James, I appreciate you watching, commenting, but I reiterate, it's not a vaccine related death or anything like that. It's really not. Oh God, that comment's awful. Yeah. I don't know. It feels wrong to talk about what I'm looking forward to on this card, and
Yeah, we can do that later in the week or
do a
something.
preview.
Unpack the card and stuff. But the intention today was just Nick and I were kind of debating doing this tonight, doing this tomorrow. But
Yeah, I've got
it's
to
good for
pack tomorrow and get on a plane, so I thought maybe
yeah,
we'd do it
yeah,
tonight.
and it's good to talk about these things too. There's the entire MMA community is sort of in mourning right now. It's I mean, we're all feeling this one. Whether you knew her well or knew her a little bit or just watched her fights. Everyone's feeling this one, and it's the shock is. I mean, we're all shocked by this, right? Nobody possibly could have seen this coming. It's just, yeah, it's yeah. So here we are. We just wanted to talk about this. So we'll get into the fight stuff later in the week, obviously, but
Yeah,
yeah,
it's been a weird time because, yeah, like I said, I've been hoping it's not true for the last 9 or 10, 11 days, and it's come true today. So, like Gabriel here says, mental health needs to be talked about more. I remember being a little upset, Tom, over Christmas, seeing some posts on. I'm not digging him out. Gordon Ryan was posting about mental health, and I just thought it was really useless what he was saying. I don't know if you saw these posts,
No,
but
I don't
it's
follow
just
him
yeah.
for
Well,
for that reason.
yeah, it, it it kind of really comes home to roost because he says if you're feeling bad with mental health, why don't you just train? Uh, Victoria Lee trained every day of her life. You know what I mean? She was in
It's
incredible
it's
shape.
and it's not that simple for a lot of people who are
It's
suffering
not
too. You
simple.
can't just
No.
yeah. And the only person that would say something like that is somebody who probably has not ever experienced that on a personal level or seen anybody go through something, these kinds of things.
Yeah, but
That's
I mean, like I was talking about this earlier to my girlfriend. You know, jujitsu does help a lot of people with their mental health, and it can be a good thing for people. But there's no answer. There's no one answer, right? There's no magic cure
that's it. Yeah,
for depression and mental health and things like that.
yeah. Every case is different. Every person is different, right? It's yeah. Um,
Yeah, but I don't want to go too deep into it. But yeah, we just want. Yeah, like Tom said, we wanted to maybe get some positive memories going of Victoria. Do you have any other positive stories, Tom, from your interaction with her?
just I mean, the things that will stick with me are the things that we've discussed, and for people that are just joining us now, for me it was the first times we interviewed her, just the fact that she was so new to interviews, right? It was interesting interviewing somebody who was literally doing their first, second, third interviews ever, right? But she was such a champ back then, this new and probably fairly daunting thing. She was so keen and so eager, and yeah, she was such a pro even at a young age. And then of course that moment that we've discussed where she missed Mitch Chilson's question in the cage.
Mm.
That was just so cute. And the way she would bake for her siblings after they won their fights.
Yeah, I like
Um,
that.
she wanted to. I think she had a lot of passions outside of fighting. Of course, the fighting side of her is the side that we all knew best. She didn't post a lot on social media, so I don't think we got a ton of window into the rest of her life and the other things she enjoyed. But I think she was even outside of fighting very talented and very just a curious kid with a lot of interests and stuff. And you can yeah, you got that sense when you talk to her. She was just yeah, just a really special young person, man.
Yeah, the sad thing is just how many more great moments we would have had. I think with Victoria, we would have had. I think she would have set tons of records, and I think Angela would tell you as well that I think Victoria would have eclipsed Angela's records and achievements. And it's hard to set records in the Lee family, but and what I love most as well was her final Instagram post, and this was just about a week before she died. She watched her brother win an amateur MMA title in Hawaii, and she went there probably while feeling. I won't go into it. Yeah, like she showed support for her brother. She knew her brother Adrian, he's 16 years old, 17, needed her support, and she went there and did it. And that shows to me her character, and I can't imagine how bad he's feeling right now. I know, as the younger brother, right? Given that was about a week before she died, Adrian must be. I pray for that. I'm not religious, sorry. I shouldn't say I pray, but I hope that young man can recover because his career is all ahead of him, right? He's still yet to debut professionally, and uh, it's going to be so tough for all three, I think, to ever get back in the cage, right? you're gonna have to find the motivation to do it, and you like when you're fighting, Tom, you don't want to have any doubt in your mind or anything clouding
That's
your
it.
head, right? Yeah.
That's it. And this is going to affect them probably for the rest of their lives. And certainly in a professional context, it will. And they may find ways at some points to sort of use this as motivation. They may look to sort of fight on for her memory, however they want to look at it. But a loss is a loss, right? It's going to affect all of them. And Adrian certainly being the youngest, and just being that she was, I mean, I know Christmas just happened. I don't know how they celebrated, but probably one of their last, memories as a whole family was that fight that they went to support Adrian. And that night they spent together there at Adrian's fight at Hilo, I think it's gonna feel totally different to all of them in hindsight. At the time it was sweet, seeing them all together, um, supporting each other, supporting Adrian, all posting about each other. But yeah,
And
and it's
they were all together for Christmas, the whole family.
yeah, exactly. And of course, they're all going to be. It's impossible not to think about what they could have done differently. I don't know. I don't want to get into it, but just they're gonna be thinking about this forever, and it's of course it's gonna affect Christian and Angela's careers. I hope they don't rush back, Nick, as you said. I hope they give themselves the time they need to grieve and process this, because it's gonna take time. And in Adrian's case, yeah, I hope he finds success in fighting if that's what he wants. But if he decides he doesn't, I hope he finds a ton of happiness in spite of this terrible thing that's just happened so early in his life.
Some nice comments here in the chat. Really appreciate them. See that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Colleen, thank you very much. Yeah, it is a little tough for me. It does hit a little bit close to home. I did have like I said earlier, a brother who died about a year ago. It's the worst thing. You gotta just keep moving forward, and it's some days you don't want to. Like you might wake up and forget it happened, and then it hits you just like bam, and you might have a nightmare. It's not even a nightmare. It's just you're dreaming of them, and then you suddenly wake up in a cold sweat, and you're actually not even annoyed. You're kind of happy that you got to see their face and hear their voice in your head one more time, and that stuff carried on for
Fuck,
like a year
that's so
for
sad.
me. No, I'm sure they will. I don't know. Just my personal experience. Sorry. Uh,
No, don't apologize, man.
yeah,
Don't apologize. It's
yeah. I don't know
this
if I
will
can
this
give any advice to the Lees, but if I see them again at an event, hopefully I can share some. Not that it's going to help. But I want to reach out to them on
yeah
messages, but I don't know. They're going to be inundated. I remember when my brother died, I had uh, hundreds of messages, and it was overwhelming. It was really
yeah
nice. Like, so happy to see all these people say nice things, but it is emotionally draining. Every message you write, you're kind of reliving the trauma, and you're describing everything, and you do that 100 times in one day. It's really tough, and
mm,
I imagine Andrew Lee's going to have and Christian Lee going to have thousands of people messaging them saying
mm,
sorry, condolences. It's really, really, really hard to. You just want to switch off, and I don't blame them that they've kind of not said anything for 2 weeks or 10 days, whatever it is, and the tough part really starts now because they've got there is a celebration of Victoria's life, January 22, and a burial, in Hawaii. That's when it's gonna really. I remember I had my brother died, and it was a month before I even. A month and a half before we got a funeral date, because of COVID at the time. So it's gonna get worse and worse for them, especially now the media found out, and it's all over Instagram, it's all over Twitter. It's getting picked up by every MMA outlet. I'm pretty sure, Tom, it's going to get picked up by big major news outlets such
Oh
as
yeah.
BBC, CNN, and it's gonna. I mean, the story itself of it's it's horrible. The younger sister of two champions.
Yeah, this
Uh,
dynastic family.
yeah,
This basically, one championship royalty, as I've said many times. And a huge family, not just in one, but all of MMA. A family with some real sway in the sport. Yeah, it's you were saying I thought about messaging them too, Angela and Christian, but but I think it's a blessing and a curse that they're in the public eye because on the one hand they're going to be inundated with messages at a time when maybe they don't want to be hearing from people, but on the other hand they're going to have the love and support of hundreds of thousands of people they don't even know, who really genuinely care about them and want the best for them and want their happiness. But yeah, I mean, you know better than I do, Nick, but it's there's no easy way through something like this. It's going to take time. Um, yeah, it's this is going to affect them for a long time.
that's the worst thing. Is just the Lee family is synonymous with one championship. It always will be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I know there's going to be people who are going to feel the most thing you feel is the guilt of could I have done more? Could I have helped? And could I have done things differently? And people are going to think things, but I don't think they should feel bad, right? I can't say too much because we need to wait for the family to comment. Um, it's just all I'll say is, don't blame yourself for anything. Angela, Christian, Ken, Jules, all of you guys in the Lee family. Oh god, this is horrible. Anyone have any nice comments to say? What do you guys love about Victoria? We can do about 10 more minutes, I think.
Yeah, let us know your favorite Victoria moment in one championship. Your favorite thing about her. Yeah, as we were saying, Nick and I have known this for a couple of days, or have sort of heard about this, and it really doesn't even matter. It's just absolutely shocking today. Absolutely shocking to hear this today. It seems impossible to me. Just having spoken to her a few times, this was somebody who was, just vibrating with life. She was always smiling. It's so hard to wrap your head around. It's so hard to wrap your head around that this has happened. And and we only know her on a professional level, so you can only imagine what her friends and her family are feeling right now. It's a heartbreaking thing. Here's some nice message from Alvin.
Alvin, what's up? Victoria was a great time. She will always be missed, 100%. It'd be really nice for one to establish something in her name, her memory, her legacy, to do something. Uh, maybe a Grand Prix in her honor. I don't know. Like, what would you do? What can it's tough,
Yeah,
isn't it? Yeah.
that's an interesting idea, but on a slightly positive note, one championship does they go big on everything. If they're going to do some kind of tribute to her, I would think that it would be pretty special. I don't know, yeah, do a Grand Prix in her honor, put her on the belt or something,
Maybe do a.
a
Maybe
card in her honor. Yeah.
no, I think finding young talent and helping them fund their
Yeah, like
gym
a
fees,
scholarship
things like the
almost. Yeah,
scholarships.
that's a great idea. Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Victoria Lee scholarship, an MMA scholarship, or something like
yeah,
that.
you know, pay some people's fees, gym fees.
And to those
Uh,
of you who are, feel like doing something for the family, if you're in a position, they did ask people to donate to the Hawaiian Food Bank if they're looking to pay their respects. Um,
yeah,
so if you feel like doing something, that's what they've asked for. Um, yeah,
yeah. Hawaii Food Bank. If you would like to pay tribute or anything like that, just Hawaii Food Bank, help them out. That was on her obituary on the website from
hmm
the funeral home she will be buried at. Um, Scholarship you can get down with says Phenom Revolution. Name an event after says Ryan McGee.
yeah, even like a women's scholarship, like to build up those women's divisions or something. That would be. I think that's a really cool idea. Or young prospects like under 20 or something, male and female, something like that. I think that's a really good idea, Nick. Naming an event after her would be cool, but that's just one event. This would sort of have a lasting impact. But they need to do something, and I think certainly, as someone asked, I think we can probably expect some kind of video tribute on the Prime card this weekend. I don't know that for sure, but I would expect, and if not this one, then certainly the next one.
I think they will.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this has not happened to one, as far as I know. In the time I've been covering them, there's not been a death of a fighter. Obviously, there was a fighter who died weight cutting, which
Mm-hmm.
brought about the hydration test system. But I, as far as I know, there's not really been like a one championship fighter who you would
Not like
associate with one championship. Like they
yeah
fought their career. I mean, Phil
on
Baroni
the
is
roster. Yeah,
guy
yeah.
murdering his girlfriend allegedly. Sorry, charged with
Mm.
wasn't one championship fighter, but sorry, he's not died. But I yeah, no one on the roster has died. In my 4 years of covering it, this is the first time. So it's a relatively new promotion. The UFC has been around since the 90s. So I hope that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah, and one's only been around for 10, 11 years. So it's and you wouldn't expect it to be an 18-year-old. You know, you wouldn't expect to be doing these kind of things for another 20, 30 years. Getting the veterans passing away. So,
yeah. I mean, I feel like I don't even really know what to do in these situations, right? Because we covered one pretty much exclusively, and this hasn't happened in one before. Um, you don't even. I mean, there's no roadmap for situations like this, unfortunately, right? It's everyone's just trying to feel it out and figure out the best way forward. And um, yeah, I don't know. I
yeah,
don't know what the best thing for one to do is, but I'm sure they'll do something. It's just
I
unbelievable.
yeah, I just think Chatri gets a lot of smack talk from people, but you know, he texted me uh after my brother died. He texted me. He messaged me. He didn't have to do it. He sent a bunch of really nice messages, and I'm sure he'll be. he would have been contacting the Lees nonstop to make sure they're you know they're or to help in any way he can. It's a side of him a lot of people don't see. He gets a bad rep sometimes from people, but he's a nice human being who has a good heart, and he certainly helped me a lot in what was very low time for me, and I'm sure he's going to do everything he can to help all of the Lees, not just Christian and Angela, but Tom, I hate to discuss it, but practicality wise, I would urge Angela and Christian not to come back anytime soon. But would you create interim titles, things like that, or do you think it's disrespectful? Like what?
Mm, I'm not sure. Yeah, man. It's
Yeah,
maybe after 6 months or a year or something, you can start. You don't want to wait a year, I guess, but start discussing that in 4, 5, 6, 7 months when you have a sense, or I guess when Christian and Angela have a sense of what the grieving process will be like for them. If they feel in 6 months like they're ready to start thinking about coming back, then
yeah,
that's great. But if after a year they haven't and aren't ready, then maybe you can discuss it then. But it's like we said, the reason we know Victoria is because she's a fighter and she fights for one championship. But it feels sort of fickle to talk about fighting in a way,
yeah, yeah.
because she was just a. I mean, I'm not saying we shouldn't, but it's
I
yeah,
think it's
it's
we're gonna have to at some point, sadly, and
mhm.
that's what sucks
Yeah.
about this whole thing. We have to move on and match up divisions, and I wish we didn't have to. I wish we
Oh
could.
yeah. There'll be a time for that, in
Yeah,
days, weeks from now, Um, but yeah, for now, I mean, it's just we lost a really special young person recently. It's as for the division she fought in and what the future holds for her sister, her brother, her younger brother, her family, I think those are all questions for weeks or months or whatever down the line. Right now, I think it's just we just got to let the family grieve, let the family sort through this, let the fans grieve. It's yeah.
yeah. It's gonna be. Now I know this stuff's gonna come up in 5, 6 months, right? And
Well, that's it. It's
yeah, it's
this
just
is this is this is this will cast a shadow over one championship for a long time in a lot of indirect ways. And that just speaks to the influence that Victoria already had over the organization. At such a young age, 3 fights into her career, she was already just so highly regarded by so many people. So of course, when we lose somebody like her, the loss is felt on just on a really expansive level, not just by her family, but by the people who worked with her, um, her friends, her training partners, people like us, who interviewed her. We're looking forward to speaking with her, getting to know her. Um, it's yeah, it's gonna take some time. It's terrible.
yeah. Alvin here saying life is always fleeting. We must pay our respects to Victoria and her family and remind each other we must live our lives to the fullest. Yeah. Um, that's it, right? Yeah, I said that to a couple of people today. Go and hug your loved ones. Go and tell people how much they mean to you, please, because you never know if it's the last time you speak to them. And don't leave things on a negative note with people who are close to you, because would you want that to be the last thing you say to them, right? If they got hit by a bus or whatever. There's some people suggesting they cancel the events, January cards. Like, I wouldn't be in favor of that personally. I think there is an element of the show has to go on. I think Is that me being
No,
insensitive? Or
I don't think it's insensitive. It's there's no perfect solution in a situation like this, right? That's one of the reasons why it's so terrible. Is there's no way that you can turn this into a positive. There's no way you can swing this and make it hurt less. Canceling the event is one option for sure, but then a bunch of fighters may not get paid. I don't know. I would personally, I would prefer to see them just find a really nice way to honor her as soon as possible. A long lasting, really, substantial way to honor her. But you know, whatever one championship thinks is best, whatever her family thinks is the best move, they know better than we do, I'm sure.
yeah,
Yeah. I honestly, I don't know. I don't know what the thing to do is in a situation like this. But it's a loss that's going to be felt for a long time.
Yeah, we're not going to get over this one.
No.
Yeah, I know Phantom Revolution's taken some umbrage at what I said. I'm not. Yeah, like I said, I'm not trying to be insensitive, but there is a. They have this company has contracted to put on events, and they can't just cancel them, right? Legally they're locked into producing and broadcasting events. I know it might seem insensitive, but I think it'd be better for them to put on a show and honor Victoria on the show. That's my personal opinion. I don't mean to offend anyone. I think.
Yeah, I think some context was missing there, in terms of those comments. Of course, yeah, there was nothing insensitive about what you said, Nick, and like we said, not to toot our own horns today, but we knew this person very well. It's we know her family. It's a terrible thing. We're feeling this as much as all of you in the comments are. Just feeling it out like everybody else. It's a really sad day for this community. So try to be civil to each other. Yeah. There's nobody's being insensitive here. In fact, I think a lot of people are feeling very sensitive right now, which is a natural way to feel.
I think a lot of fighters on this card, Phenom, not Phantom Revolution, sorry, Phenom, I think they would want to pay tribute to Victoria by fighting. I know Ong La is fighting, and he's been heartbroken by this news, and he's been posting about it. He recently lost a friend and training partner, Anthony Rumble Johnson, and he wanted to fight, and he wanted to pay tribute to Rumble, and I think a lot of the fighters here are going to pay tribute to Victoria Lee. You're going to see it on Saturday next week. And in some ways, that's the best way to pay tribute to someone, is to keep going forward, to put one foot in front of the other, like not to stop. And that's just my opinion. I'm sorry. It might not be right. It's just how I'm feeling right now. And I haven't really thought things through. I might be a little bit discombobulated.
No, it's all right, Nick. It's this is hard for everybody, man. It's just shocking news. And we're all gonna have different opinions on the best way forward here, but there's no questioning that everyone here is feeling for the Lee family, and wants the best for the Lee family first and foremost, and is really just feeling the loss of Victoria. Anyone that's involved with one championship is going to be feeling this one. And nobody really knows what to do in situations like this. So just try to be civil to each other. That's the very least we can do. Because we're all certainly feeling this one.
Yeah, no, it's all good, Phenom. We all free to express opinions here, as long as we don't abuse each other. You get banned by Alvin if you do that. Yeah, I'm sorry if the things I say sound insensitive. I'm just thinking out loud.
We're both. That's all we can do today, right? Is ramble.
Yeah,
I had no idea what I was going to say when we started this. Yeah,
we had nothing planned. So.
This is therapeutic for us, as it is hopefully for some of you, to talk about this a little bit. We just came on here to talk about what happened today, or not today, but what we learned today. It's Yeah.
Yeah, a great young woman, says Ken, who was destined for greatness. Most likely would have been a great champion in one. Hard to disagree with that. My heart goes out to the Lee family, says Jimmy. We are in hard times right now. Rest in peace, Victoria. It's such an awful thing to happen. Yeah, it's been a rough start to the year, hasn't it, Tom? In terms of MMA news and things, not been great. Just hit after hit. It even stretched into the end of 2022. But
This one, not to weigh one terrible thing against another, but this one does
yeah,
feel a little bit different, just because in this case, this wasn't somebody making an ass of themselves or somebody doing something terrible. This is a young person passing away far too early. Not even in the prime of their lives yet. It's this is yeah.
yeah, and
This is something different.
we know what Tom's referring to there, but we've also had deaths rumble, like we said, back end of 22. Stephan Bonner, who,
Seth Bonner, of course.
let's
I
be
forgot
honest,
about that.
MMA wouldn't be what it is today without him. It really wouldn't, bizarre as that is. I was explaining that to a friend last night, actually, and it was such an alien concept to him. And it's so strange, isn't it? Yeah, because Stephan Bonner doesn't have. He's not got that legacy of a champion or a legend in UFC, but he is literally a guy who changed the sport forever. And I think this is what's really sad about Victoria. I think she could have changed the sport forever. She could have eclipsed Angela. I think she would have. Angela will tell you that as well. That's not just me being Angela hater or anything. I don't hate Angela at all. We love Angela. We love Bruno. We love Christian. We love Victoria. We love them all. Yeah, we criticize them sometimes for their performance in the cage. It's just our job we're doing. But as human beings, I've never met a nicer family or more close knit family. I remember Christian. They always had time. Always gave us interviews. Yeah, and
Yeah. They're an incredible family. Christian, I think, was one of the first one championship fighters I ever interviewed in person, like a face-to-face interview where you actually get to shake the person's hand and really meet them. And from then on, I'd interviewed Angela a bunch of times before that. That was back when he was fighting Kazushi Tokodome, I think, in Singapore. But got to know him then. I've interviewed him, countless times since then, virtually, and many times in person. Angela as well. Met the parents. Just such a nice family. It's so hard to imagine something like this happening to them.
Yeah, I remember Christian, before Christian, I think it was just after he won the belt. Yeah, I interviewed him just in a corridor in the hotel in Kuala Lumpur. And he was so nice. This was back when I just started doing, so all I had was a phone and a little microphone I plugged into the phone. And it was a real amateur setup, but he still did it. And I was really glad to then interview him in person in November with you, Tom, in Singapore. And we had the full camera set up there. They had these headphones. We had the mic, and we come full circle, And I think he made a comment about, yeah, it's like, what are you guys doing now? Wow, you've come a long way. And it's weird. I feel like I've grown up with them the last 4 years.
I was just going to say that. Yeah, I feel the same way, that we our coverage of one championship has grown with them. Yeah, that's a really nice way of putting it, actually. And it's hard not to feel close to the family just because of the way we've been able to watch Angela and Christian's careers unfold, and just get to know them.
Yeah, and they're still so young as well. Those two, they're 24. Christian, 25. Angela, is
Angela's,
it
I think,
26?
25 or 26. Yeah.
And
But you wouldn't know it
yeah,
talking to them, right? They carry themselves so well and they speak so well. And it was true of
Christian
Victoria too.
is. It's crazy to look at Christian and to see what he's achieved in life, and he's a young father as well, and he's married. And I look at him and I feel like I've achieved so little in life, and
Yeah.
I just look at him and he's so much more mature and like, wow, damn, this guy has it all together at the age of 24, and the family's going to need him a lot, I think now, and
Hmm.
I can't imagine, but yeah, like
Yeah.
we said, we grown up, like I've grown up with Angela from the age of 21, seeing her fight, and maybe 2021. SCMP's been covering her even before I got there. SCMP was covering Angela. We sort of discovered her, and I think the most biggest story we ever had on Sport Desk for a while was Angela Lee winning the belt, and I feel like the SCMP has been a part of the Lee family as well, and I've been telling their story. We're kind of synonymous with them as well, and they're synonymous with one. And I was really looking forward to telling all these stories about Victoria and kind of growing up, not growing up, but like watching her grow up and being the one to document her journey. And yeah, just I'm sure she would have absolutely smashed it and set so many records, won many two. She could have won multiple belts, if she wanted to. This one really sucks. Yeah, I don't know what else I can say. There's a lot of comments here. Victoria is a beautiful spirit. Agreed. That tone different. That one different. Sorry. Uh, no father and mother should bury their children, says Ghost. I agree. I agree. Um, yeah, a lot of people here. Everyone is shocked, Tom. Everyone is shocked, and that's it, right?
How could you not be, right? Just knowing what we know about her, not just that she was so young, but you know, a professional athlete. You assume are in good health. Focused. I mean, what can you say? And nobody expected this. She's just too young. Had her whole life ahead of her. And yeah, it's going to be so terrible for her family. They're really going to have to support each other, of course. And I think we as fans need to sort of circle the wagons for the whole Lee family, and that doesn't mean blowing up all their inboxes, but just support these people how you can. Be patient with them.
Yeah.
The fighters in particular in the family, Angela and Christian, be patient if they don't end up coming back for a little while.
Yeah,
If we don't
please
get
remember they're
answers,
so young as well, still,
yeah,
Angela and
these
Christian.
most people would call Angela and Christian kids still too. You talk to a 60-year-old, they're not going to look at Angela and Christian like fellow adults. These are young people still. They're
I'm
um
10 years older than them, at least,
mhm.
and
Yeah,
that's baffling because they are so much more in control of their lives, and you know, they. I look at them and I look up to them as role
that's
models, and
true. That's true.
uh, but don't forget, yeah, they're 24, 25, 26. So
And they're people. They're people. We forget about this with people in the public eye sometimes, particularly fighters who seem so tough, so steadfast, so difficult to rattle. But these are people who just lost, one of the most important people in their lives, their little sister. If you have a younger sibling, an older sibling, I mean, you can imagine losing any family member. It's a terrible, terrible thing. So, I mean, I think it's important that we all show love to the Lees, certainly, but also, give them patience and privacy, certainly, as they deal with this terrible thing that, of course, they didn't expect either.
yeah, I'm sorry that one different. You're having a hard time.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, I'm sure Victoria inspired a lot of people, and
I think
uh,
this commenter was saying you just discovered Victoria Lee recently. If that was the same person,
yeah,
that's such terrible timing. I'm sorry to hear that. She was an incredible fighter.
yeah. I was just excited to see what she was going to do next because she, like I said before, I think they matched her up well with people she was going to beat, but I think if they'd matched her up with tougher girls soon, she still would have won. And I was really excited to see that next phase. Like I think she would have beaten Zeba Bano. No disrespect to Zeba, but I was excited to see that evolution of all right. How about a former ranked fighter? How about a Mei Yamaguchi? How about an Elise Anderson? Some of the women who were in the Grand Prix. I think that was around the corner for her, and I was just really excited to see her matched up with that. But maybe that's too soon, and maybe it was all too soon, and maybe we should have pumped the brakes. Uh, our deepest sympathy to the whole family. Love you, Victoria Lee. We'll miss you forever, says Rolando. Gabriel. Uh, yeah, pressure is. I don't want to get into it too much, but I could I feel pressure growing up from my parents. Everyone feels pressure like in life of having to do this, do that. It's a universal thing, I think, and I can only imagine how hard it was for Victoria to follow in the footsteps of world champion sister, world champion brother, uh, and you're expected to be better than them, and I can't imagine that pressure. Honestly, cannot imagine it. But we don't want to get too deep in this, so um, yeah. Why don't we?
Yeah,
I don't know.
we
So,
Nick and I haven't known what to say since this started an hour ago or hour and 15 minutes ago, and we're still here. I assume you're all feeling the same way. It's just it's a massive loss for one championship and for the Lee family and for everybody that likes this sport. Um,
it's just shit, man. It's awful.
it's super shit. That's Nick and I have been texting all day about it, just about how it's hard to even it's hard to believe. It's a little cliched to say you don't expect these things to happen to people the people around you in your sort of immediate circles, but it does sometimes, and it's terrible when it does, and you never see it coming. So apologize for not being the most eloquent today, having the most,
yeah.
for having some real structure to this chat, but we just wanted to get on and talk about it a bit and talk about how important Victoria was and what a special person she was, and how terrible this is for her family, who again cannot emphasize enough are just really the nicest, some of the nicest people you'll come across, not just in this sport, but on this planet. Just really great people. And it's a loss that's going to change that family in ways that most of us can't understand. So it's terrible.
Yeah. That's it. Um, we appreciate it. And other people, yeah, we appreciate all your comments, and it's a bit of a strange show today. Uh, but yeah, I'll be flying to Bangkok tomorrow and straight into it. Media day. It's going to be a tough one to get myself up for it, but I'm going to have to. So, uh, but I'm glad we could do something today separate from all that. And I'm sure, though, Tom, that a lot of the conversation next week is going to be around this, and rightly
Yeah, of
so. I
course,
think a
of
lot of
course.
people are going to want to pay tribute to her, and
And
um,
right, yeah, as it should be.
yeah, I'm sure Chatri's going to make a statement soon, and uh, yeah, this isn't going to go away, like Tom said. So I hope you can all enjoy the fight week as much as you can. I'm going to try to. It's going to be tough, but we will do our best to cover the event. And Lucas asking when the family announced it. That just Angela confirmed it today. But it's sort of been
Floating.
yeah, it was floating around, and there was a I've spent far too much time checking funeral home
Yeah, me too.
registries and things. This week. Okay, we leave it there, shall we?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a sad day, everybody.
Yeah,
It's not much to say other than it's a terrible thing for a great family. So just be respectful of them, give them patience and space, and when they're ready, I'm sure they'll let us all know, and we can shower them with the love that we all want to give them. But yeah, rest in peace, Victoria Lee. She was an incredible young fighter, and it's just an unimaginable tragedy that she's not with us anymore. We're all going to be feeling it for a long time.
Yeah, I could say it better myself. She had so much promise and talent, and the nickname said it all, the Prodigy. She could have been anything she wanted to be. So this run really hurts. This one really sucks. It's gonna hurt for a long time, and I don't know how long it'll take to feel normal again for the Lees. And yeah, R.I.P. Victoria. May your beautiful spirit energy live on wherever it may go. Yeah, she was a good person. Every time I interviewed her, I just felt positive afterwards and
Yeah, happy. Yeah.
happy. And there are some people you speak to and interact with who give you a good vibe, and she definitely did.
Yeah, she made people smile, man. Even over camera,
Yeah,
like over the internet. Yeah.
she didn't have
Yeah.
that. And I say this in a good way. I truly mean a good way. She didn't have like the kind of confidence or arrogance, self confidence that Angela and Christian had. She was way more. She's always so nice. Not to say Christian and Angela aren't nice, but I think Christian and Angela have a little bit more of a. They know how good they
Got
are.
some swagger. Yeah.
That's some swagger, yeah. But I think Victoria was so humble. One good story I want to share is finally to end this maybe is Angela. I think I already said it. Angela saying she's better than me, but Victoria. I told Victoria that, and Victoria said, "No way, no way. That's not true. My sister's so much better than me." Never accepted that. There we go. We'll leave it there. I didn't know how long we'd go tonight. We've done an hour and 23 minutes, so I hope it's helped some of you as well. Maybe get your feelings out there and to chat to each other. And we appreciate you watching and commenting. So we'll be back. I guess tune in on. Yeah, I don't want to plug stuff. Actually, you know what we'll be doing on next week. I'll be in Bangkok. Tom's not there this time, but Tom will still be helping out from Canada.
Yeah.
We'll leave it there, and we'll be on the ground. I'll be on the ground next week, so hopefully after a few more days, the pain isn't so tough.
Hug your loved ones, people. Hug the people you care about. Give them love.
Yes,
and
exactly.
Everybody stay safe out there.
Yep, peace and love. All right, thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time.